Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Friday, the 21st of June 2024. In today's Millwall news, we have this from the londonnewsonline.co.uk. It's Andy Marshall giving an interview about the obviously sad situation that's happened this week. It's literally like losing my son. Millwall goalkeeper coach Andy Marshall devastated by passing of Matija Sarkic. Millwall goalkeeping coach Andy Marshall has paid an emotional tribute to goalkeeper Matija Sarkic, saying the passing of the Montenegro international is literally like losing my son. The Lions number 126 passed away on Saturday morning in Montenegro. Marshall made the call to bring Sarkic to England when he was at Aston Villa in September 2015, the start of an unbreakable bond between the pair. It was Marshall who received the call with the tragic news. And he said, "I went to bed on Friday night happy, really good," Marshall told the South London Press. "I'd had a really fantastic summer. I went away with Matija to Turkey and then to Spain, doing extra training with him and getting him ready for his international game when he went to Belgium and played. I drove over there to watch him play with a friend of mine and then to receive that phone call from his dad. He called me and I missed the call. And I texted him back, and when he called me back immediately, you know there's something seriously wrong. And it was the worst phone call I've ever had in my life. It's literally like losing my son." Marshall attended Sarkic's funeral in Montenegro on Monday afternoon. In their tradition, how they work out there, they bury their deceased quite quickly. So I found out Sunday afternoon what the details were, said Marshall. My partner Jasmine arranged all the flights to get out there. It was a beautiful funeral. The family was so respectful. How they conducted themselves was absolutely phenomenal. Tuesday we had a memorial at the National Theatre in Podgorica. The president of the country spoke, who knew Matija and he knew Matija's family. Various members spoke, and then finally his twin brother Oliver spoke, and he put a very fitting tribute to Matija, where he spoke in Montenegrin and then spoke in English. And it was very tough, put it that way, but it was very beautiful. There was a video to start with for 2 minutes, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. Marshall first met Sarkic when he was 17. That's when Sarkic was 17, not Marshall, obviously. He signed a 3-year contract with Aston Villa. I was a little wide-eyed kid coming over from Belgium at the time, and because he was at Anderlecht, said Marshall. Tony Cotton, the scout at Manchester United, brought him over while he was working at Villa, and I trained with him for one session. I was given the deciding factor whether we signed him or not, and I put my name to him, and quite frankly, from that point, all he's done is want to learn and want to find out how to improve himself as a goalkeeper and as a person. It wasn't just a mentoring or coaching thing, it was a mentoring thing of life rather than just a football. We had a very special relationship. Every single day we would either be training together, texting or talking. His personality would shine through. I've seen what Neil and Jake have said about him, the comments everyone said, his personality shone through. And that was him as a human being. The fundamentals of life that had been put into him by his parents and brothers, it was just given an opportunity to enhance that. Sarkic was signed by Millwall last summer from Wolves. He made 33 appearances in all competitions for the Lions, 32 in the league, and also kept 12 clean sheets. The keeper had a strong finish to the Championship campaign as he kept 4 shutouts in the last 5 matches, including a penalty save from Matt Grimes at Swansea on the final day. As a 17-year-old, we spoke at length about how to develop him, said Marshall. I spoke to his father all the time about how we were going to develop him as a goalkeeper and as a human being. And there was an idea in place that we were going to develop him as a human being and as a footballer, and he was just reaching that point. I'm so glad I went over to watch him play in the Belgium game, where he got the man of the match, and all the hard work we'd put in over the years, all the hard work, professionalism and dedication, he came through in that game. And I spoke to him the following day, and I know how he felt about it and how he realised why everything has to be done the way he did it, the way we had structured everything in his life to maximise his opportunity and his career. I don't think it's any surprise that if the fans look at the last 12 games of the season, how he was performing, that was the work Matija was doing on the training field, and it really came through in the end. Sarkic was normally the first Millwall player into training at Calmont Road. "I was a consummate pro," said Marshall. "He was a very smart young man. He had years of learning. He's very well educated. He spoke 5 languages. He would be in at 8:30 every morning, doing his breakfast properly and doing all his preparation properly. Out on the training field, we would train correctly, do his gym work after, and all the type of rehab he needed to do. Everything was just absolutely professional in him. I can't speak highly enough of him." Lions head coach Neil Harris said plans were still being mapped out for the club's approach in terms of tributes. "I got back on Wednesday and I went to see people at the training ground and saw Matija's stuff," said Marshall. "Then I went to the stadium and signed a book of condolences, paid my respects, and I laid some flowers. Whichever game it is, whether it's the last game of pre-season or the first game of the season, all I can do is encourage people. Let's fill out the stadium for him. Let's do it for his family and show them what it meant to Millwall and Mill fans. He was coming into his own and showing exactly what he was. I've literally had thousands of messages, and that's not an exaggeration, through social media and texting. It's very, very clear how he was regarded as a human being and a footballer. The way the club have conducted themselves has been phenomenal, second to none. Every single member staff of the club has contacted me, and everyone has done, the manager, coaching staff, the media. Every single person has pulled together and done it the right way. And finally, I want to say about the owner, James. The owner's been absolutely phenomenal. He's been in constant contact with me and the provisions the owner has put in place for the family and for Phoebe, his partner in particular, to ensure she has a future going forward. I literally cannot speak highly enough of them all." So there you go. Things that we don't see behind the scenes, and what it means. We turn up and we watch them on the pitch, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't see. And Marshall's been with him for last 9 years, since 2015. He said, long old time. And we're going to move on to this as well. This is from The Athletic. It's behind a paywall, but don't worry, I've jumped over the paywall and I've nicked it. I hope they don't. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble, because this is quite a comprehensive, well-written piece, and I'm going to share it with you now. So if you watch it and then you come back later and it's gone, or the video's been removed, it's because The Athletic have got me in trouble. So Matija Sarkic remembered, "He was half of me. It's devastating." Oliver Sarkic was having breakfast in Mauritius just 3 days into his honeymoon when his phone rang. It was his father, Bohan. In a faltering voice, he told Oliver that his twin brother, Matija, the Montenegro Mill goalkeeper, had collapsed. "I was surprised, but then his next sentence was, 'and he died,'" Oliver recalls. "And I didn't really believe it. It was devastating." Matija was just 26 years old. The cause of his death is still to be determined, but his family have been told he suffered sudden heart failure. He'd been on holiday with his partner Phoebe, the former Aston Villa defender Oscar Borg, and his girlfriend. Matija died 10 days after he was named man of the match for Montenegro in a friendly against Belgium, and just a week since he acted as the best man at Oliver's wedding, along with their older brother Danilo and a childhood friend. "That was the last time I saw him alive," Oliver told The Athletic. "It's bittersweet, but it's an amazing last memory to have. We were always together. There was no Matija without Oliver, and no Oliver without Matija. We came as a package. He was half of me, and I will always have great memories of him, but I wish we could make new ones like we did at the wedding." Matija, a thoughtful, studious, and usually popular player for every club he's represented, was coming ever closer to fulfilling his dream to play in the Premier League, having just enjoyed an excellent season with Millwall in the Championship. That dream has now been cruelly snatched away, leaving his family and friends struggling to come to terms with seeing a young man in his prime of life taken far too soon. After finishing the season with Millwall, Matija flew to Turkey and then to Spain with Andy Marshall, his goalkeeping coach since his time at Aston Villa, to prepare for Montenegro's friendly match against Belgium on June the 5th. For Matija, who spent the majority of his childhood in Belgium, it was a game that carried extra meaning and gave him the chance to line up against old friends from Anderlecht's academy, including Wout Faes and Aurel Mangala. The extra training paid off as he pulled out a string of outstanding saves and was named man of the match in Montenegro's 2-0 defeat. It was, as Bohan tells The Athletic, the best game of his life. Tragically, it was also his last. Matija was given permission to miss Montenegro's next game, a friendly against Georgia, to attend the wedding of Oliver, also a professional footballer, having had spells at Leeds United and Blackpool, in Guimarães, northern Portugal, on June 8th. Afterwards, he returned to the UK before travelling to Montenegro for a mini break. Having landed in the country on Friday, he spent a day at the beach and proudly showed off his newly furnished apartment in the coastal town of Budva on the Adriatic coast. However, in the small hours of Saturday morning, Matija woke up feeling unwell and collapsed shortly afterwards. Ball's girlfriend, a nurse, administered CPR until an ambulance arrived, and paramedics then attempted their own resuscitation, but without success. It was an instant death, Bohan said. He was not suffering. Bohan was told his son had passed away at 6 a.m. and it fell to him to inform Oliver. He and his new wife, Matija, immediately cut short their honeymoon, flying back to Montenegro via Dubai and Albania to attend his twin brother's funeral on Monday. The traditions here are that brothers place their brother into the coffin, said Oliver. So me and my brother and the two workers from the morgue picked Matija up and placed him gently in a coffin. He looked peaceful and he was in his national team kit. In the space of a week, we saw the same people who had been at his wedding. We went from the highest of the highs to the lowest of the lows. A memorial service was organised the following day by the Football Association of Montenegro, attended by the country's president, where Oliver gave a tribute. I said in my speech that I always remember him as he was last, a tall, handsome, smart man, a loving brother, and a greatly talented goalkeeper, hard-working and dedicated. Matija was buried with his grandparents, Biba and Alija, in the main cemetery in Podgorica, the capital of Montenegro. They both believed in him so much, Bohan said. My mother decided the name Matija, and my father was a footballer who always said he would make it as a professional, and now he's with both of them. Matija, who was fluent in English, French, Dutch and Montenegrin, was born in Grimsby and spent his early childhood in London before his father's work for the Montenegrin government took the family to Brussels when he was 7. His mother, Natalie, works as a government official and now runs her own business combating disinformation in the media. Football was always an obsession, and Oliver remembers how he and Matija would commute an hour and a half across Brussels to school, loaded up with their books and football kit, and get home at 10 p.m. after training. Matija began life as a defender, but switched to goalkeeper when a gap needed filling one day for his Sunday league team. Chelham, a play on the names Chelsea and Fulham. There he found his calling, modelling his game on Claudio Taffarel. As a 10-year-old, he would study videos of the Brazilian goalkeeper trying to pick up tips. You wouldn't expect a 10-year-old to go into such detail, but that was him, Bohan remembers. He became really professional, thinking about every detail. He wanted perfection. Matija returned to England after signing for Aston Villa in 2015, the beginning of a nomadic journey through the English League system that included loan spells at Wigan Athletic, Stratford Town and Avon and Waterlooville, as well as a Scottish club at Livingston. He eventually signed with Wolverhampton Wanderers in 2020 before going on further loans to Shrewsbury Town, Birmingham City and Stoke City. Last July he joined Millwall on a permanent deal and finally seemed to have found his home from home. Every teammate and manager spoken to by the Athletic spoke of an impeccably behaved individual who had time for everyone and remembered those who had helped him. At Stratford, for example, he remained in contact with people at the club, even when playing at a much higher level. He was also a dedicated professional, determined to reach the top of his game. He spent hours, for example, mastering the side-on volley out of his hands that stays low through the air. He was also remembered for his ability to light up a room, sense of humour and mischief, infectious energy, love of travel and good coffee. He was so passionate about coffee that he had a station at home christened the Sarkic Lounge. Everything he did was fun, Bohan recalled. He did it all with a smile, and that was him. My mother was an actress, and she called Matija Granny's actor because he was always making fun around her, dancing, doing silly little things. His favourite was Borat, and once at Millwall, when they went out on Christmas, they dressed him as Borat. And he did something similar at Birmingham. He bought a plastic Lamborghini and came into the dressing room dressed like Troy Deeney, because Troy had a Lamborghini. It is always to have a bit of fun and make people smile. At Wolves, he forged a close friendship with club captain Max Kilman. We instantly got along, Kilman said. We had similar morals in life. He was very humble, worked really hard. and wanted to be the best and had worked his way up the ladder in football. He just wanted to keep improving. He would go out of his way to help everyone, not just in football, but in life. He spoke 4 languages. So when the manager, Bruno Lage and Julian Lopetegui, for a while, would explain something, Matty would then translate for the French boys in the squad. And everyone would say the same. You can't say a bad word about him. We built up a real connection. It's so sad. Kilman said he was planning to catch up with Matija this summer in London once he got back from his holidays. Fellow goalkeeper Harry Burgoyne, who spent a season with Matija at Shrewsbury Town, remembers having breakfast with Matija every morning and taking it in turns to buy a smoked salmon. The club didn't provide it, but Matty had a deal with the physios where if he kept a clean sheet, they would bring him a coffee, said Burgoyne, who also played for Wolves. Then it turned into smoked salmon and we started to enjoy it, so we'd bring it in, and he always managed to find a better quality smoked salmon, so it was always nice when it was his turn because you knew you were getting the best of the best. He also introduced me to a Montenegro style coffee, which was very strong. Matija's determination to extract every last drop of his talent was obvious to all who knew him. Oliver remembers how he would have a chalkboard in his kitchen where he would jot down things he wanted to improve. He would look at that every day and he would inspire him to keep pushing for his goals, he said. At Birmingham, Matija had a tricky start to his career, but rather than shrinking or retreating into himself, he made a point of seeking counsel from those around him. I had made a few mistakes and he came to myself and Handy Marshall and asked questions, said Neil Etheridge, another goalkeeper on Birmingham's books at the time. I showed how humble he was to seek advice from people who had been in the game longer than him. From there, he kicked on again, and a couple of games later, he was back on it with the man and the match performances again. For the managers he played under, Matija was the perfect player, eager to learn, and someone who could absorb and retain information very quickly. He was a very professional, respectful, and well-mannered. A manager's dream, said Lee Bowyer, his manager at Birmingham. You knew when he stepped onto the pitch that he'd give you everything he could. As a character around the place, he was well-liked, and everyone respected him. He was one of the good guys. Gary Holt, his manager at Livingston, agreed. He was a young man with an old head on his shoulders, he said. He was very respectful, very humble, but very driven. He had amazing belief in his own ability. If I ever needed someone to do something, he'd always say, no problem, Gaffer. He was a credit to his family, the way he behaved and the way he conducted himself, the way he carried himself. When he first signed, we sat him down and told him he wasn't going to start, and Holt said he was really annoyed. He said, I accept it, but I'm better than him. And I thought, fair play to you. He didn't down tools, he didn't throw a half because as a young man it's easy to do that. He fought hard in training, he pushed the other goalkeeper, he wasn't negative. He was hungry to get in, and when he got in, he was absolutely outstanding. When Matija started his footballing journey, he had 2 main dreams. One was to represent his country, which he achieved, winning 9 senior caps. The other was to play in the Premier League, an ambition he was so close to realising. For his heartbroken family, of course, not seeing Matija realise his youthful potential as a footballer is only part of their grief. The hole left in their lives by his death will never be filled. No one ever believed we were twins, and the next question we were asked was always who was older, said Oliver said. And the answer was that Matija was older by 3 minutes, but that question of who is older is never going to be asked again. Now I am older than him, and that has hit me hard because I was always the youngest one. And now his journey has ended. Indeed. Just realising that now, that the age he was 26, and that is, was it Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, 26, 27. It's James Dean as well, isn't it? There's a kind of a weird phenomenon where famous people, in the past it was musicians, pass away unexpectedly at the age of 26, 27. And it seems Sarkic has joined that club. So there you go. Moving on to this bizarre story coming out of Ghana from a website called GhanaWeb.com. I have no idea what the level of this website. Maybe it's the Sun of the Ghana version of the Sun, or maybe it's the Ghana version of something else. I don't know. But Ghanaian youngster David Lomo completes move to EFL side Millwall FC. Ghanaian youngster David Lomo has joined the English champions. I think this piece, I think they've had bit of artistic license with this piece. Millwall Football Club on a long-term deal. The 15-year-old versatile defender who's capable of playing as a right-back and centre-back has made a progressive move in his career after leaving Level FC, which I believe is Levels FC, which is also based in the UK. The deal will see the highly rated David Lomo play for the under-21 team of Millwall Football Club. Like I said, English champions and under-21. He's 15 years old. If he's playing for the under-21s at the age of 15, he must have something about him. We're talking like Wayne Rooney levels of something, because he was playing for when he was 15, he was playing for the under-21s at Everton, wasn't he? So if he's playing for the under-21s at the age of 15, I mean, damn. But I think, like I said, I think this is a bit of artistic license here. I think someone's auntie's written this, trying to brag about their son. It's also expected that Lomo will join the senior team for their pre-season matches and secure a place in the first team should he impress the coaches. Speaking after signing the deal, David Lomo expressed excitement about the move, noting that it is a significant step in his career. David promised to give his all to not only earn the place in the first team, but also to ensure the team achieves their target for the 24-25 season. In December 2023, David Lomo visited Ghana and trained with the respected Francis Totti Layeri, who is the CEO of the fitness outfit Train Like a Pro GH. And I believe that's a picture of that below. So David Lomo will be in the one on the right, and the geezer on the left being, I would say, someone in his 20s, fully grown man. So if David Lomo is as tall as a fully grown man, or that man's like a little, not fully grown, he's like a bit of a man, I don't know, but if he is that tall, maybe he is playing for the under-21s at the age of 15, maybe. So there you go. Now, what is this about? I tried to find out what this is about. I think, obviously, like I said, this is a bit braggadocious. I think someone's in his family has sent this off trying to brag about their kid to relatives in Ghana and whatnot. So you've seen at the end of the season, you got under-21 players released, and some players in the under-18s who actually done quite well, obviously, in their cup run. And you're scratching and you're thinking, well, why have they been released? And it's, well, because there's a standard at the club. They're trying to get to a certain level. So if you're an under-18 player in a Millwall team, you're not just competing against the other players to get a contract to move on to the next level, which is under-21s. You're competing with players outside of the club. There is talent everywhere, and they get released from other clubs above us in the Premier League and whatnot, and they will sign them up, and you have to try and outperform them to keep your place as you move up to the under-21s in the Millwall system. So here we go. But this kid hasn't been signed from a Premier League team. He's been signed from a team called Levels FC, which is one of these newfangled youth team setups that you have now, where instead of being called after like a geographic region like Dulwich FC or whatever, Tulsil FC or Erith Belvedere FC or whatever, you have these teams that have like aspirational, inspirational names like Ballers and Levels, and you can see here Levels Above the Rest. This is from levelsabovetherest.com to signify that these players are better than everyone else, and they offer elite football coaching. So obviously, rather than just someone's dad, one of the players in the team's dads taking training once a week, they're trying to add a bit of like this is a step above. They're trying to make it a bit more pro-like, and the guy's got his UEFA license in coaching, and he's attracting all the players. And here we go. So here you go. They're bragging about all the players that they're only started in 2018. They're bragging about all the players that they've got signed at other clubs. They organise friendlies against EFL teams. I assume that's so the players can test themselves, but it's also like, oh, try before you buy. Like, it's a trial for the. You go and play against Millwall, and then Millwall go. Then they go, you interested in any of our players? You want to sign any of them? And they've even been to South America. So levels above the rest provides elite one-to-one coaching and group sessions. The children of all abilities taking place in East London. So there you go. So levels above the rest was the coaching. It's kind of like a coaching school that was started in 2013, and then in 2018, they decided to start up a football club based off of the coaching school. So there you go. Elite environment. The aim is to create an elite environment which will help all of our clients mentally, physically, as well as always looking to improve their technical ability. So, level above the rest has overseen the progress of several players who are flourishing in the professional game. And there you go. This is what they do. So there you go. And just to show you how successful they are at the moment, this is from Newhamrecorder.co.uk. Levels FC youngsters land memorable quadruple in style. This is dated to 24th of April 2023. So, not this season that's just finished, the season before, the end of that season. Every team they've got won their cup, I think. Under 13s, under 14s, under 15s, and under 16s all won a cup. I don't know if that's the league or a trophy or what. It just says won finals for the first time since being formed in 2018. And David Lomo is listed on this list. He scored 2 goals in the under 14s final, 7-0 win over Ryan. So there's a team called Ryan. That's, like I said, all the teams now, they've got all weird names. There's a team called Ryan. And there you go. So this is who we signed and who we signed him from. So, like I said, that was a bit braggadocious, but 15-year-old, if he's playing for the under 21s at 15, I mean, damn, that's insane. I'm going to finish now by reminding you, tomorrow night, technically, sort of, not really, Wes Harding may or may not be featuring for Jamaica, as they play in Mexico in the Copa America. If you wanted to watch that, it is 2 a.m. kickoff on Saturday night, stroke Sunday morning. Available to watch on Premier Sports 1, or I believe betting outlets like Bet365 and Ladbrokes. If you have a bet on it, like maybe like a £1 or something like that, you'll be able to watch it. You might be able to watch it without that. If they're offering in-play betting, you can just watch the game and pretend that, oh, I'm going to place a bet, but you're not really. You don't have to. So there you go. Let's hope he plays and doesn't get injured. Anything else like that. So on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.